What do you think about the current war in Iran? How does it tie into King of the North and King of the South picture? So, I haven't actually thought at all about the war in Iran. I hadn't thought really much about it at all. Um, I I think so how it plays in this, it's perfectly consistent with the rise of the King of the North, and you're going to see it keep rising. The King of the North, if in my understanding of it, King of the South represents all the forces that deny the God of the Bible. Sometimes I use the word godlessness, but that's not quite exactly correct because all the Pharaoh is represented by Egypt. He said to Moses, "Who is God that I should know him?" Okay, who is your God? So it's really the denial of the God, the true God, the God of the Bible. That's what the King of the South is, because Pharaoh had a bunch of gods, the Nile God and the sun god, and so they believed in gods. They just didn't believe in the God of the Bible. So all the forces through history deny God of the Bible as King of the South. That would be paganism, and that would be leftism and communism and evolutionism and materialism and wokeism and humanism and all these isms that have come down from the left side. That's King of the South through history. King of the North are people who acknowledge the God of the Bible, but will use the power of the state to enforce it. That's represented in the prophecy by Babylon. And as soon as Daniel's three friends were brought out of the fiery furnace, Nebuchadnezzar declares that the God of Daniel is the true God who rules from heaven, and anyone who speaks bad about them will be killed, their family killed, their house destroyed, their home destroyed. So immediately we use the power of state to enforce a belief in God. And if you follow this, there's three groups in the prophecy: the people who deny the God of the Bible, the people who endorse the God of the Bible, but will use the power of the state to enforce belief in the Bible, and then the people in the beautiful land, which are the true saints of God. And through the prophecy, the King of the South and the King of the North are both Satan's people, and they're both fighting back and forth constantly. And this is one of Satan's master strategies, pitting two groups against each other for the purpose of getting the people in the beautiful land to pick a side. And so what you could see right now happening in society, people are picking sides. They're both wrong. Okay. And the Iran and its terrorism promotion is wrong. The United States is not God's kingdom on earth, and it is going to rise, and it's going to dominate the world near the end of time to help usher in Satan's ultimate impersonation of Christ. And we see that happening. What you're going to see, if I'm correct in my interpretation of the prophecy, is that King of the North, those who believe in the biblical God, are going to gain more and more power over governments, and the godless forces of the woke that have been assaulting the King of the North since the Enlightenment for about 250 years. They have been attacking the power base of those who believe in the Bible, and who formerly were controlling governments. And if you look at the history of Western civilization, the governments have been controlled since the fall of Rome by those who believe in the God of the Bible. And then the Enlightenment came, and there's been a gradual erosion of that to the point that we just saw up into this last election, the grossest, unbelievably disgusting, godless agendas put forward that were so disgusting that regular people said, "I can't take this anymore." And now you see the rise of a political power coming along that is endorsing and promoting a call back to Christianity. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening right now in America, and they're using their power to influence other nations of the world back towards a biblical worldview. Do you not see it happening? Yeah, and so I think it's and it's going to take the power base. So the last two movements of that prophecy are the King of the South attacks the King of the North. The King of the North storms out against him, destroys the King of the South, and then Michael the Prince stands up, and the second coming happens. And I think we're seeing the storming out, and it's going to be 250 years on the last attack. I think we're going to see it in a very shorter decade or two at the most. We're going to see in the next 10 years, maybe even less, maybe just a little more, a complete reversal in which the godless forces of the left lose power. And it's very interesting. Have you noticed several major media outlets are being taken over by friends of the right? Are you watching that? You haven't seen that happening? Keep watching. They're going to keep losing more and more power, and then they're going to lose institutional power. School systems are going to be. Have you already noticed that government contracts and things that fund a lot of these mega schools are now starting to be restricted, called back, and it's just a matter of time. They're going to lose their power unless they flip and become supporters of the right. So it's very interesting. This is what I think is happening. And the trap, by the way, is to get the actual righteous to join with the king of the north, to use the imperial powers of the state to promote, quote, justice. That's the trap. And when Satan returns, Satan is not coming to be worshipped as Satan. Satan is coming to be worshipped as Jesus. This is the whole battle. He's always been envious of Christ, and he always wants to take Christ's position. And when he comes back, he's going to impersonate Christ. And if you have a Jesus Christ who is a rule maker and rule enforcer through punishment, then when he comes back and uses these methods simply to do justice through inflicting punishment on wrongdoers who won't accept his legal payment, you will accept him as your savior. And that's the big deception. All right, guys. Hey, I'll be there next week in person. See you next week.
Hey.
Bye-bye.